Hello everyone, I'm Ekaterina and the grammar topic of our today's video is called expressions of quantity. The expressions of quantity or quantifiers are everywhere. We use them a lot. We use them with nouns, of course. But at first, let's take a look at useful tips for staying healthy. What are those tips? Tip number 1. Do some exercise. Take a couple of breaks during the day and get away from your desk for a few minutes every hour or so. A couple of, a few. These are quantifiers. These are the expressions that show us how many or how much we should do something. Drink lots of water. Drinking not enough water can lead to dehydration. Keeping the body hydrated helps the heart more easily pump blood through the blood vessels to the muscles. Lots of water. Enough. These are the quantifiers used here. Eat lots of vegetables and fruit. Eating a healthy, balanced diet provides a large number of nutrients to your body. Now, lots of and large number, these are again the expressions which show us how many or how much of something we should use or eat. Rest and refresh. Get plenty of sleep, as sleep restores both your mind and body, and don't spend much time in front of the screen before going to bed. Plenty of and much are the quantifiers used in this tip. But how do we know which quantifier we use with which noun? Let me explain it to you now. So, as you probably know, in English, we have countable and uncountable nouns. Now, countable nouns, sayılabilen, uncountable, sayılamayan. And all the rules that we will be looking at today, that we will be studying today, are based on the rule of countable and uncountable nouns. So what are those? So countable nouns are those that we can count, right? Very logical. So we can use 3, 2, 10. We can use numbers with them. We can count them. And we can use both singular and plural verbs with them. Yeah. Uncountable nouns, sayılamayanlar. We cannot count them, and they have only one form. We do not use the s ending with uncountable nouns. The verb is always singular, not plural, but singular. And we cannot use indefinite articles with and numbers also with uncountable nouns. Like in this example, yeah, we cannot say a bread, a rice, but we say some bread or a loaf of bread or some rice or a kilogram of rice. How to remember uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns are often liquids, abstract ideas, something which is made of smaller part. Yeah, it can be food or traffic or dirt, yeah, or some materials. They're also uncountable nouns. Yeah, food, as I have already told you, and there are some exceptions, some nouns which are uncountable in English. You should learn them by heart. The nouns that we use a lot include furniture, advice, work, news, information, luggage, and money. So please remember that we do not use s endings with these nouns, and the verbs that we use with these nouns are always singular. For example, we say the news is good, yeah? Or the luggage is heavy. This is what you should remember about countable and uncountable nouns. Now, speaking about quantifiers, uh, as I have already told you, we use them a lot, and they show us the quantity, yeah, how much or how many of something we have. Some expressions of quantity are used only with countable nouns. Some of them are used only with uncountable nouns, and there are also such expressions of quantity which are used with both countable and uncountable nouns. So today we will be focusing on all these expressions of quantity and the way they are used with nouns. Now, what about singular countable nouns? This is the easiest part. Oh, how do we count them? Yeah, when we speak about singular nouns in singular, we can use indefinite articles or an. We can use a number one, and we can also use every or each. Now, what's the difference between every and each? Because these are very similar expressions, but they have some differences. Now, what is each? When we say each, we speak about individual members of a group. Yeah, we see them as separate items. And each is usually used for a small number. Of course, we use them with singular nouns, as I have already told you. Each house on the street has a different number. Yeah, so we mean each individual, each separate house. Yeah, we can also say each of. She gave each of us a small gift. Her birimize, each of us. Now, what about every? When we say every, we mean we speak about things collectively as a group. We don't speak about individual members of a group, but we speak about a collective, well, a collection of things. And we also use every for a large number. Yes, each is used for a small number, every is used for a large number. Every house on the street looks the same. Yeah, so all of them are the same. It's a group of houses. Yeah, we're not looking at them as individual houses, but we uh, look at them as, well, collectively, right? It can. We also use every when we say how often something happens. Every day, yeah, every week. I take a break every 2 hours. Yeah, well, how often? Every, not each, but every. Every player wants to be in the winning team. Yeah, all of them, all players want to be in the winning team. Each ticket costs $10, so each individual ticket costs $10. This is the difference between each and every. The difference is slight, but still there is some difference between them. Now, let's look at the general table. Which quantifiers we use with different nouns? Plural, countable, uncountable nouns, and some of quantifiers are used with both. Now, plural countable nouns, yeah, two, three, several, a large or small number, a few and few, many or too many, both, and a couple of. What about uncountable nouns? We can use such quantifiers as a great deal of, a large amount of, a little or little, a bit of, too much or much. By the way, a little and little, a few and few are different in meaning, and I will explain the difference a bit later. With plural countable and uncountable nouns, we can use all these quantifiers. Any, some, no, hardly any, none of, a lot of, lots of, plenty of, most, all, and enough. Now, what about plural countable nouns? Yeah. Çoğul sayılabilen isimler. Which expressions of quantity we can use? Of course, we can use numbers, 2, 3, etc. We can say several. Yeah. It's several means not many. Yeah, 2, 3, 4 maybe. We do not know the exact number. Let's look at the example. I've seen Gone with the Wind several times, well, a few times, several times, 2 or maybe 3 times. A large or a small number of something, or a good many of something. These are used with the same meaning as a lot of. Yeah, a lot of, by the way, is a very universal expression. You can use it with both countable and uncountable nouns. So it's quite that's a good quantifier that you can use everywhere and not make mistakes. Okay, there are a good many or a large number of people there. Both. What about both? Both means two things or people together. Both those chairs are occupied, I'm afraid. So those two chairs are occupied. Few and a few. What does that mean? What's the difference? Few means yeah, a few and a few. Yeah, they both mean some. Yeah, but when we say few, we actually mean not as much as we expected. Yeah, and a few means some, well, a little bit. All she wanted was a few moments on her own. She had few moments on her own. These are different expressions. These sentences have different meanings. So, few means çok az, few moments on her own, çok az, and she wanted a few moments on her own. A few means fazla değil ama yeterli. But we'll look at those a few slides later. Please wait for it. A couple of. It is used with the same meaning as a few. I have a couple of things to do now. So a few, a couple of. Too many or many. We can use too with many, which means, well, a lot, yeah, more than many. There are too many cars on the road. More people should use public transport. It means more than necessary, too many. Yes, like I told you, a small number and not many. Now, what about uncountable nouns? Expressions of quantity that we use with uncountable nouns. We can use a little or little. These two have different meanings. A bit of, much or too much. A great or a good deal of, or a large amount of. Now, what about little? She saves a little money every month. It means some, a small amount. Yeah, a little means fazla değil ama yeterli. The same as a few. Yeah, but a few is used with countable nouns, and a little is used with uncountable nouns. They had little money to spend, which means not much, almost nothing. Azıcık, çok az, little money. A bit, yeah, which also means very little. Maria has put on a bit weight, hasn't she? Much or too much. I bought too much food. So with countable nouns we use many, and with uncountable we use much or too much. Yeah, too much means more than necessary. A good deal of research has been done recently. A large amount of effort has been spent on the project. So with uncountable nouns, we when we want to say a lot of, yeah, instead of a lot of, we can use a great deal of or a large amount of. These are the expressions that you can use to enrich your vocabulary. Now, what about little, a little, and few, few, and a few? I want to give you a few more examples to explain these quantifiers better. Now, as I have already told you, little and a little, these two quantifiers are used with uncountable nouns, and few and a few are used with countable nouns. So when we use them, we should know if the noun is countable or uncountable. Now, little means not much, azıcık, biraz. Gary's very busy with his job. He has little time for other things. Çok az vakti var. Neredeyse hiç yok. A little means some, a small amount. Yeah, let's go and have coffee. We'll have a little time before the train leaves. Biraz vaktimiz olacak. Fazla değil ama yeterli. Yeah, a little means yeterli. Yeah, do you speak English? A little. Yeah, yeteri kadar biliyorum. Hani çok az ama yeteri kadar konuşabiliyorum. Few, which means not many. Yeah, Vicky doesn't like living in London. She has few friends there, so not many friends. Yeah, çok az arkadaşı var. A few means some, a small number. I enjoy my life there. I have a few friends and we meet quite often, which means, yeah, I have 2 or 3 friends, or maybe 4, but but that's enough for me. Yeah, yeteri kadar arkadaşım var. Yeah. When was the last time you saw Claire? A few days ago. Yeah, which means some, well, 2 or 3 days ago. Okay, I hope that's clear. I hope the difference is clear for you. Yeah. So we can talk a bit, right? Okay. What about much and many? What's the difference between much and many? So, as I have told you previously, much is used with uncountable nouns while many is used with countable nouns. But there are a few more things that you should know about much and many. We usually use them with questions and negatives. Let's look at these examples. Is there much unemployment in that area? So, if we want to say a positive sentence, yeah, an affirmative sentence, we should say there is a lot of unemployment in this area. Not much, yeah, but a lot of. A lot of is used in the affirmative sentence. It was pouring with rain, but there wasn't much wind. How many? Yeah, that's a negative statement. How many eggs are in this cake? Yeah, eggs. That's a countable noun, egg. So we use many. There aren't many women priests. Yeah, again, in the affirmative sentence, we can say there are a lot of men priests. Well, but many is also used in affirmative sentences a lot. But with much, it's a bit different. In most cases, we use much in questions and negatives. Um, Sometimes we can use much and many in affirmative sentences in more formal styles, like in this sentence. There is much concern about drug addiction in the US. That's a quite formal style. We can also use so instead of very, before much and many in affirmative clauses when we want to emphasize a very large quantity of something, a very large amount of something. He has so much money, so much, yeah, so a lot, more than necessary. No, any, and some. These are three quantifiers that we can use with plural countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Now, when do we use them? No, yeah. There are no pockets in these trousers. There is no bottle left, so both was countable and uncountable. That's okay. Any. There aren't. So, by the way, no, yeah, gives a negative meaning. We use them in. We use it in negative sentences. Any. Any we use it for unknown quantities or an unlimited entity. We usually use it in negative sentences and in questions. There aren't any biscuits left. They've eaten them all. Yeah, uh, that's a negative sentence. Or you can say there are no biscuits left, by the way. And yeah, biscuits countable noun. And what about uncountable nouns? Do you bring any bread? How much luggage do you have? I don't have any. So any is used in questions and negative sentences with both countable and uncountable nouns. Some or some of. We had some friends round for dinner on Saturday. I've just had some chocolate. Or can you please give me some of the milk? Now, uh, some is used again with both countable and uncountable nouns, and we will now look at some differences, and we will look at some more examples with any and no. Any basically means it doesn't matter which, what, or who. Yeah? Herhangi in Turkish. When you make a late booking, you don't know where you're going to go, do you? It could be any destination. So any place you like. You can take any bus, they all go to the center. So it doesn't matter which bus. So any also has the meaning of no matter which. Okay, we use it in affirmative sentences with the meaning no matter which. We can also use it without a noun following when we understand what we are speaking about. Have you got some £1 coins on you? Sorry, I don't think I have any. Yeah, we don't have to repeat the noun. Sorry, I don't think I have any coins. Yeah, no need for coins here. You just can say any. How much luggage do you have? None. Or I don't have any. Yeah. So in these both cases, any is used in the negative sentences, and we don't repeat the noun. What about no? Yeah, we can use no instead of not any. As I have already told you, there aren't any biscuits left or there are no biscuits left. Yeah, but when we say no, it's not a double negative, right? So be careful about that. Um, there were no shops open. There weren't any shops open. So when we use any, the verb is in the negative form, right? And when we use no, the verb is in the affirmative form, not in negative, because we do not use double negatives in English. Some and none, some of and none of. Now, what about some? We can use some with of before this and that, before there, or before pronouns you, us, or possessive pronouns my or your. So when we say some of, we mean some part of a whole. I wasn't sure about some of the answers. Some of the answers, yeah, so we know which answers we're speaking about in this case. Some of the people we were expecting didn't come. Some of the people, yeah, uh, we have an article here, a definite article here, so we have to say we must use of some of the people. What about none? None, which is in Turkish hiçbiri or hiçbir şey, it can be used, yeah, it is used with nouns, and we can use singular or plural verb with none. How many students are there in the class? None. So there are no students, yeah, that's the meaning. No students. None of the passengers were or was injured in the plane crash. Yeah, or none were injured in the plane crash when we know who we're speaking about. So with none, we can use both singular or plural verbs. Now, what about the quantifiers, which can be used with both plural countable and uncountable nouns? You can see them on the left. A lot of, lots of, plenty of, most, all, none of, hardly any, and enough. Yeah. We've got many example sentences here. We've got lots of things to do. That's a lot of money. Yes, it's a lot of is a universal quantifier which you can use without being mistaken with countable and uncountable nouns, but do not overuse it, okay? Use different quantifiers because it will show you how rich your vocabulary is. She plays tennis most mornings, yeah, the majority of time, yeah. Most tap water, okay, is drinkable. All, yeah, all means everyone or the whole. All tickets, so all information. None of, hiçbiri, right? Again, it's okay to use it with countable and uncountable nouns. Hardly any. Hardly any means neredeyse hiç. There were hardly any people yesterday, so the meeting was postponed to a further date. So almost no people. Okay, there's hardly any milk for the baby, so there is almost no milk. Very little milk. I don't have enough eggs to bake a cake. Enough. There was enough food for about 10 people. Enough is okay for both countable and uncountable nouns. Let's do a few exercises. So let's practice using much, many, little, and few. Now you can pause your video and complete the gaps on your own. Okay, I hope you've done the exercise. Now let's look at the sentences together. Annie is very busy these days. She has little free time, yeah? So, not enough, yeah? Did you take many pictures at the wedding? Pictures, it's a countable noun, and that's a question. This is a modern city. There are few old buildings, not so many, because that's a modern city. The weather has been very dry recently. We've had little rain, yeah, not enough, little. I don't know London well. I haven't been there for many years. Countable noun. The two cars are similar. There is little difference between them, almost no difference. I'm not very busy today. I don't have much to do. Yeah, uncountable. And that's a negative statement. It's a wonderful place to live. There are few better places to be, so not so many, almost no better places to be. The second exercise is a rewrite. You should rewrite the sentences with the same meaning using the word in capitals. Please do the exercise now. Pause the video. Okay, I hope you've got the answers. Now, the first one, not. We have to use not here. There is too little time to finish now. There isn't much time to finish now. Yeah. So negative. We made this statement, this sentence, negative one. None of my answers was or were wrong. Yeah. All of them were right. None of them was or were wrong. 3. There isn't any money in your wallet. There is no money in your wallet. Yeah, any and no, they have the same meaning. Isn't any and no. There weren't many customers this morning. There were very few customers this morning. Hundreds of people were queuing at the front entrance. A large number of people, yeah? Because we have large here, so we've got to use this phrase. A large number of people were queuing at the front entrance. There wasn't much show last night. There was hardly any show last night. A lot of money has been spent on this project. Amount. A big amount of money was spent on this project. So, today we spoke about quantifiers, and hopefully after this video you know which quantifiers to use with singular and plural countable nouns, which expressions of quantity we can use with uncountable nouns, and which quantifiers we can use with both plural countable and uncountable nouns. Thank you for watching this video, and goodbye. See you later.